Welcome to Sib Spot. Our stories for today are from I Don't Work Here Lady. Story 1 is by Ariana Raven. Crazy coworker thinks I'm someone else. Not sure if this exactly belongs here, but I've been reading some random stories and got reminded of something that happened a while ago. The details are a bit fuzzy since it was so long ago. I work for my county in mental health. I do some work with the county social workers, but not much as they're in a different department. Cue the Karen. It always sounds like the Kraken when somebody announces a Karen. I get an email from a social worker saying something to the effect of, I hear you are the liaison for the local women's shelter. Can I get this one form? Now, I work with the infant early childhood program and I had nothing to do with the program she is talking about. I reply saying, sorry, but I think you might have the wrong person. She immediately responds with, no, I have the right person. I need this form immediately, so please send it. I again reply and say, sorry again, but I don't know what form you're talking about and I don't work with that program. She replies again and says, look, I know you're new, but you really need to learn the job quicker. Sometimes women need these resources immediately. I again apologize and say she has the wrong person and this is not the program I work with. I will also note I am not new. I've been in my position for almost 3 years. She states that this is unacceptable and asks for my supervisor's email. Now, my supervisor is known around the office as the Bulldog because she usually won't let things go until she gets her way. She's a total BA. We're just going to call it BA because we can't swear on here. She always sticks up for her people and she's been with the county for over a decade. So I'm thinking this is going to be good. I tell the Karen my supervisor's email and go down the hall to give my supervisor a heads up. When I tell her Karen's name, she just rolls her eyes and says she's always like this. She tells me to get back to work and she'll handle it. So I head back to my office and like 45 minutes later, she walks in. She says the Karen must have looked up her number because she called. She apparently launched into a speech saying she would expect someone trained by my supervisor to be actually competent and states I should really, at the very least, know the forms. My supervisor very politely, but also precisely told her she not only had the wrong person, as I really do not work with that program, but that the person who is in that position does not exist as they have not been hired yet. Apparently at this point, Karen went silent and then hung up. My supervisor knew the form she asked for and went ahead and emailed her a copy. Not gonna lie, OP, I kind of expected the woman who was the Bulldog at the office not to be very precise and polite at the end, but I'm glad she was because that's just how you stir up more trouble. Down in the comments by She Who Loves to Draw. It's always the least competent employees who think everyone else around them is somehow the worst. Your supervisor is awesome. We all need someone like that watching our backs. And underneath that by Randy Priest. And it's a quote, if you run into an a-hole in the morning, you ran into an a-hole. If you run into a-holes all day, you're the a-hole. That actually reminds me, I used to work with a teacher who was just not a nice person. And everybody knew it. And she just thought she was the smartest. She just thought she was the best teacher. She thought she could do no wrong. She was so rude and she was not a nice person. And everybody said, oh yeah, she's just like that. She was not a good person to the kids or the faculty. And so she was the a-hole at that school. Our next story is by Cheez-It8926A. Changes to Oregon gas laws cause confusion for agro-lazy man. To the non-Oregonians out there, you may not know that until about a month ago, it was illegal to pump your own gas except in rural areas at night. Now we can, but many gas stations still have attendants. I personally prefer to pump my own gas because it's much quicker. Please note I work in medicine and had on scrubs for this entire situation. Today I pull up to the station. There was an attendant, but he was busy, so I get out to pump it myself. No problem. I love it. A few gallons in and I notice the attendant run inside to take care of a cash payment. This big truck pulls up to the pump behind me. I'm just chilling watching my money go down the drain with every gallon. Big truck man honks. I'm minding my own and assume it was an accident. Honks again, holding it a little longer, and I start panicking like, Oh no, did I not turn my car off? What is Big Truck Man trying to tell me? I check and my keys are on the front seat where I usually leave them when getting gas. Dude rolls down his window and starts yelling at me, asking me why I'm not pumping his gas right now, because obviously that car, my car, isn't done yet. I stare at him and walk a little closer to him and then just say, "Dude, this is my car." Truck guy, "Okay, but you work here, so stop being lazy and pump my effing gas." I gesture to my scrubs. I don't work here. Truck guy, "Yes, you do. You can't pump your own gas in Oregon." He's getting noticeably white guy angry red in the face. At this point, the attendant emerges and hustles over, so I go back to my car, which just finished. As I'm removing the nozzle from my tank to leave, I hear truck guy complaining about how I was blatantly breaking the law. Then the attendant explaining to this man-child how the law changed over a month ago and he could have been pumping his own gas the whole time instead of harassing other customers. Look out, guys, it's one of those instances of Big Truck Man. You know, OP, I think I'm going to steal the phrase Big Truck Man for every person that I have issues with in pickup trucks from now on. Our next story is by Brilliant Caramel 124, A Half Hour in the Military. A few years ago, if you consider 25 to be a few, I was in the American military for half an hour, apparently. Here's how it happened. This, by the way, was in the UK. After a strenuous period at work, I was given a few weeks off to relax and decided to head down and visit a very old dear friend of mine who owned a large property near a military base. This proved to be a mistake as, obviously, it was incredibly noisy due to the arrival of a large number of American troops for some sort of joint training exercise. I got myself some earplugs, a book, and relaxed in the backyard while my friend, who ran a nearby pub, was serving booze and roast dinners. I had just gotten to chapter 6 of a book and was dozing off when my nap was interrupted by the increasingly loud enraged scream of what turned out to be a large bald man who looked like he would be wearing sunglasses, if he could possibly get away with it. Before I knew it, I was in an arm lock, being dragged across the garden to the gate and dragged down the street. Cutting through a large amount of dragging, yelling, and not listening to me at all, we arrived in an office where I was handcuffed to a chair. Enter Provost Robotnik, a large man with an amazing red mustache and no other visible hair. Conversation is approximate because 20 years. Also at the time, I was not in the best mood for observation. This is just a side note. It took me a second to realize that he's talking about the villain, Dr. Robotnik, from Sonic the Hedgehog, that also has a red mustache. Provost Robotnik, "Son, you were caught in the yard of some local. What y'all gotta say for yourself?" Me, "Sir, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just staying here with a friend." Provost Robotnik, "Soldier, Wait, you're not even American, are you?" Me, "Someone just came in and grabbed me. I was born down in Cornwall." At this point, the man just goes entirely red. I mean, solid red. Pulsing vein, gritted teeth, the works. The fact his mustache was vibrating after the fact, fascinating. He screamed something in a pitch too military for us with mere mortal ears to understand, and then 3 men just materialized. I swear, no one opened a door. They were just there. The man who had dragged me in was manhandled rapidly into the room at what I understand could very quickly become gunpoint if needed. I was unlocked, released, and escorted back to the garden with Robotnik profusely apologizing the whole way. Later, I was told in the pub that the man who had arrested me was up for some sort of promotion and was looking for any tiny thing to gain an edge. And a skiving soldier was just the thing. Skiving? Skiving? Skiving, I think. I thought skivvies was like undergarments for military or something. No one had any idea why he thought I was one. I still exchange Christmas cards with several of the soldiers, and the provost joins us every few years for a roast dinner in the pub. I think he's actually gained weight. Our stories for today have come to a close. Until we meet again, have an ideal day.